In today's video, I'm going to show you 5 secret tips to instantly speed up your workflow. Now, if you guys want to learn something new every week, go ahead and click the subscribe button down below. Today I'm talking about 5 tips that I wish someone had told me when I first started using Adobe Premiere Pro. Now, tip number 1 is to learn and use keyboard shortcuts. Some really important ones that I can think of are I and O to set your in and out points, C for the razor tool and V for the selection tool, Q and W for ripple delete, and M to set markers. You can also do Control K to cut right where your playhead is. Don't forget, not only can you learn these shortcuts, but if you're coming from a different piece of software, you can always customize them and change them to what you're used to. Now, tip number 2 is to always stay organized. This is especially important when you're shooting big projects and you're working on a big timeline. Now, a simple, easy way to stay organized is with bins. You can organize your footage by any category. Now, let's take the music video that I made last week as an example. I separated the main footage of them singing and the B-roll from each other. Now, inside the main footage, you can see there's shots that I got from the studio, shots that I got from the backyard, and shots that I got from their front porch. Now, this makes it really easy to just, whenever I know that there's a shot that I'm looking for, I can easily find it and navigate through my footage so I don't have to spend a whole bunch of time trying to figure out where that one specific shot is. Now, another thing you can do is color coordinate those shots as well. Now, what I did here is I set each location as a different color. Now, when you have a whole bunch of layers on the timeline, having them color coordinated makes it way easier to be able to identify which clip is which shot. Now, in order to get the colors that you coordinated in your bins to show up on your timeline, you have to change a setting. Now, just go to File, Project Settings, General, then click the little checkbox at the bottom that says Display the project item name and label for all instances. This is a great way to be able to easily identify what footage is what on your timeline. Now, tip number 3 might sound like a no-brainer, but work in panels. Adobe was nice enough to create different panels for the different aspects in editing. There's an assembly panel, editing panel, color panel, audio panel, effects panel. There's tons of panels that are made to make that section of editing a lot easier. When I first started using Premiere Pro a few years ago, I would do everything in the assembly panel because I didn't realize that there was other panels that you could use. But the layout for the other panels makes it so much easier to use, especially the color panel. It just really speeds up your workflow. Now, what I do, and you need to figure out your own personal workflow and what works best, but for me, I'll import my footage in the assembly, do my main edit inside editing, and then I'll jump over to effects to add transitions or any other kind of effect that I need, maybe warp stabilizer, any transitions or anything like that. Then I can hop over to audio and adjust my levels, mix it a little bit, do some EQs, that kind of stuff. Then after I get my audio done, I can hop over to titles and get all the titles in if I need any text on the screen or anything. And then finally, I'll hop into the color panel to do my color grade, and then back to assembly to export. The reason why I like to go back to assembly is because when you open a new project, it'll open in the panel that you last had open. So it just saves time from not having to click to assembly each time I open a new project. If you guys are ready for tips 4 and 5, be sure to hit the subscribe button. It really helps me out. Now, tip number 4 is huge. This tip is a major time saver. It's ridiculous. Like, I can't believe that I only started doing this a few weeks ago. If you find yourself making the same types of videos over and over again, like say YouTube videos, why not make a template project? Every single Friday, I'll post a video showing the Instagram stories that I made that week. It would take so much time if every week I had to put down the main picture, the Instagram logo, my Instagram username, and the spaces in between each clip and all of that. But what I do is, it saves me a lot of time, is I just make the entire project without the actual clips that I use, without the Instagram stories, and just save that as Instagram template. So now when it's time to edit my Instagram video, I can just open up the template, save it as a different project, and don't forget to save it as a different project because you don't want to override your template. But then I can just import the footage that I need from that week, change the dates, and export, and I'm done. It saves so much time. Now, just like saving a template project, you can save template effects, which are called presets. Now, since I make Instagram stories every week, I have to rotate my footage and scale it down every time that I make an Instagram story. So instead of having to rotate it and then scale it down, I can just do that once and then save that as a preset. Now, every time that I make an Instagram story, all I have to do is drag and drop that preset on all my footage and it'll instantly set it to the right aspect ratio. Another example is, say you guys have a studio where you know you're going to have the same camera settings and the same lighting every single time. Well, instead of having to color grade it every single time you make a video, why not color grade it once, get it really how you like it, and save that as a preset. Now, anytime you have footage from that setup, you can just drop your color grade on and you won't have to color grade every single time that you use that footage. Now to make a preset, all you need to do is right click on the effect, click Save Preset, give it a title and if you want a description, and there you go. Now just go to your effects panel and click on presets and you should find your preset in the list there. Now tip number 5 is a tip on how to speed up the rendering of your videos. We all know how painstaking it is to just sit and watch that bar slowly move as you try to render your videos. Now one thing you can do is install Adobe Media Encoder on your computer and use that to render your videos instead of doing it inside Premiere. So when you're done with your project and you're ready to export it, hit Control M to bring up your export panel and set your settings exactly however you want them, and then instead of clicking Export, click Q. That will open up Adobe Media Encoder and add your video to the queue. Now let's say you wanted to export multiple videos from one project, you can queue them all up and then export them all at once. Now Adobe Media Encoder utilizes the cores of your CPU so that it can use more of your CPU and render it faster. Another good thing about Adobe Media Encoder is that you don't need to have Premiere Pro open in order to export. So after you have everything over inside Media Encoder, you can save your project over in Premiere and close it, and you don't need to have it open while you're exporting. Go ahead and comment below which tip you found most useful, and also if you have any tips of your own, leave them in the comments as well. If you guys want to learn something new about filmmaking every single week, hit the subscribe button below and click that bell so you don't miss anything. There you have it guys, 5 tips to instantly become a better editor and speed up your workflow inside Adobe Premiere Pro. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next video.